Hello friends, how are you? My name is Mike. This channel right here is Health and Wealth. Thanks so much for joining me today on a Monday edition. Wow, what a morning we had, right? The markets were taking off this morning. A lot of the S&P 500 is up. Bitcoin was smoking it, right? We were all the way up to 105,000, I think, yesterday, 104,000 this morning. And yeah, what happened, right? Things are cooling off on the Bitcoin market just a little bit here late in the afternoon on Monday. I want to take a look at that. I want to take a look at potentially why Bitcoin's down a little bit. Also, potentially why Mister's down. Oh, I think Mister's down because Bitcoin's down. But we'll look at some recent purchases here by Michael Saylor. Got a pretty good video that was on CNBC at the end. I think you'll enjoy that. But yeah, let's get into it, right? So MSTY is what we are mostly all invested in that are watching this video right now, MSTY. It came out with a $2.41 distribution just last week. So for me, I got paid this morning with it, which is great. I ended up buying those 5 shares of MSTY this morning, and I've capped my purchase at 200, so I'm sticking with 200 shares for a while. Gonna just accumulate some money back from that, invest in other things out there, and go from there, right? Trying to recoup what I put into it, and yeah, I think that's a smart decision for me. So the rest of it went to debt. So it's on its way through the World Wide Web right now to my bank account, and it will be paid off very soon, which is really exciting for me. But that's the personal stuff. Let's get into the MSTY stuff here. So MicroStrategy. Also I'm going to go over the Excel sheet that Yieldmax provides us. I think you'll find that interesting too. I have some good news and I have some really good news on that little Excel sheet there. So yeah, stay tuned for that too. So right now, MicroStrategy trading at $403.72. Now this changes, every couple seconds here, but it's 2:58 at the time of this recording. Just on a little break at work here. I had a pretty productive day at work today, by the way. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, had a massive downswing today. Mister did. Started off at 420 this morning. At 9:30 in the morning was at $421. So massive downswing here, all the way to $403 right now. That's pretty huge. That's a huge downswing. I'm wondering if potentially Bitcoin, well, I'll show you Bitcoin here too at the same time. Bitcoin kind of did the exact same thing, right? So it was hanging around 104,000. Now it's at 101,000. So I'm wondering if maybe because the market sentiment was that people are taking their money out of Bitcoin and putting it back into the Magnificent Seven. I was watching my buddy Greeny on the Mr. Live channel today. He put that up as a poll. Thought it was such a good thought. I'm gonna actually link his channel in my description down below here. But yeah, he brought up that point. Maybe people are starting to trust the market a little bit more, so they take their money out of crypto, out of Bitcoin, and they put it back into the S&P 500. Things like Tesla, things like Nvidia that went up 5% today, that sort of thing. So potentially that had something to do with it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, look at the S&P 500 right here, up a big amount. 3% is pretty big on a day for the S&P 500. So Mr. Downswinging here to 403. Let me tell you in a second here why that's a good thing for you and me who are MSTY investors. MSTY itself here, $23 right now. My current average is $27, and yeah, I like I had said previously, I bought 5 shares this morning. Of course, it was a little higher than this. I never buy low and sell high, but I mean, let's hope this is a temporary downswing, right? But for me, yeah, I got to my 200 shares and I'm capping it right there. So that's MSTY. I've gone ahead and taken a look at the MSTY website, well, Yieldmax website, MSTY page here. $3.68 billion in invested money in Yieldmax's MSTY here. That's a lot of cash, that's for sure. We'll get to the chart in just a second. I've got a video at the end with some, I think somebody from Mister, so we'll find out who that is. But before we do that, I want to take a look at this. Michael Saylor today. This could have another reason why Mr. is down quite a bit today. Michael Saylor, always bullish on Bitcoin, but Strategy has acquired 13,390 Bitcoin for $1.3 billion at 99,856 per Bitcoin. They've achieved Bitcoin yield of 15.5% year to date, which is in 2025. As of May 11th, 2025, we hodl 568,840 Bitcoin for $39.41 billion, and their average is 69,287. So that's pretty good compared to the price of it right now. Michael Saylor just continues to accumulate Bitcoin. He says this thing's going to $13 million a coin 10 years from now. Who knows if that's true or not. This $100,000 mark on Bitcoin is a hurdle, that's for sure. If we go back, even a year here, it's hit the $100,000 a few times, but it rarely stays over top of 100,000 so far. And I'd be interested to see if it can maybe hold that line, kind of like Braveheart here, and then expand on that. But for me, I'm okay with it hanging out here even a little bit lower because I am trying to buy more Bitcoin. So, if this thing falls off the table, it's going to be bad for Mr. It's going to be bad for MSTY as well, because it's going to diminish the share prices, decrease the share prices of both of those. And then all panic comes out, because I made the videos when Misty started going down from $44 to here. There was a lot of negative comments that happened, and I understand why, right? You don't want to see your capital investment decrease whenever you make a purchase, right? So interesting to want Bitcoin to go down because I want to buy more, but also I don't want to because I don't want my share price. So it's something about cake and eat it too. But for me, I think I would like my cake, but I want to eat it 10 years from now, and hopefully it's not stale by then. I hope you kind of get my point on that one, right? So it's nice to have a really, really good share price. It's great to have incredible distributions, but it would be nice to load the boat and get ready for our trip over the next 10 years here. And I think that's kind of what I'm aiming for in that time. So again, Michael Saylor bought more Bitcoin today. Well, actually, yesterday, it says. And yeah, Bitcoin's down today. What I did is I went to Yieldmax's website. I'll show you where I found this next chart at. So you just kind of scroll down here past all of their holdings. Now, these aren't their true holdings because they're missing a bunch in here. And I clicked on download all holdings right here. Brings up an Excel sheet. The Excel sheet is pretty difficult to look at because it's all white and smaller font, things like that. So this is the Excel sheet. I've color coded it. You'll notice there's no red on here, that's really good news. Green, great news. Yellow, yeah, not bad news. We'll find out right down the road, but green, good. Let's start at the top up here. So they have a synthetic option, which is going to be closing in 8 days from now, June the 20th, and that is for $390. Now, that's going to be at the top up here on line 2, but also on line 23. That's the call and the put. And so what that means with the synthetic option is that we are hoping, fingers crossed, everybody, that we have a share price of Mr. MSTR above $390 by June 20th. Now, generally, the Yieldmax people will close out of this synthetic option slightly earlier than June 20th. But I mean, if the markets are bulling, I almost said bulleting and bulling at the same time there. Let's call it bulleting. Around that time, then they might let it ride, right? They might let it ride. The higher the price of Mr. over top of 390, the more money in your pocket. That's really good. Now, if it's under, we can go to the 420 for now as an example, which is in yellow, but that's for June 20th, right? So that's a month and 8 days away. This is at 420. So again, we are hoping for Mr. to be over 420 by June the 20th. Let's pretend this was, next week as an example. We wouldn't be super happy about this right now. What most likely would happen would be Yieldmax rolling the synthetic. But sometimes they have to close it at a loss, and we wouldn't like that. So right now it's a loss, but I mean, we still have a long way to go. You can see how quickly markets can change up or down. You know, if you've been paying attention over the last week and 2 weeks, how much these markets go up and down. It's like a yo-yo. All right, next part is the treasury info. This is the kind of boring stuff. This is where they store some of their money to gain interest on their dollars. So yeah, they make a little bit of interest on that. The next section of green is the really exciting stuff. Early in the video, I said I have good news and better news. Here comes the better news for right now, anyways, for today. So these ones, we want the price of Mister to be underneath all of these prices right here for us to make money. These are called your weekly calls. And so they have anticipated that Mister will be underneath all of these dollar amounts right here. And because they've set up these calls, they garnered us money right here in this column I'm highlighting. And that's, you know, millions of dollars. We'll go over how many millions of dollars that is right now. So the first call here is $417. So that's the lowest one. So again, they're hoping Mister stays under $417. They have 4,250 shares. And for that, they collected a premium, right? This is what covered calls are. You put your shares up for auction and traditionally, right? And then you get a premium for it, and you hope they don't get called away for the most part. But you get to keep your premium regardless. Now, if the price of Mister goes over 417, then what Yieldmax will have to do is close this call, where they're going to have to pay more money to do that. Right now, this is why this is really good, because Mister's way under 417, and for that they got $6,098,750. The next one you can see is a lot more, right? So their call was at 422.50. Let's just wow. So 15,957,500. That's incredible. That's a lot of shares there, right? 13,000. So that is an impressive amount right there. So that's the big one, right? We definitely want Mister to stay under 422 for sure. And then you can see here all the way down, we have different numbers. Now, I have gone ahead and recorded how much all of that added up is. Now, this is not money in Yieldmax's pocket yet to distribute to us, because we do have to go until, well, we don't have to go till the end of that time, but it would be ideal, because time decay allows you to close these, especially if the price is under, for pennies on the dollar, right? So we got May 16th for every single one of these, which is the end of this week. So if today, I mean, let's just go back to to Mister's page here. You know, if that sticks around 403, that's good. But check it out. I mean, it went down $12.40 today. That would be right around 417. It can easily go back up the same way, right? So we hope I kind of hope it doesn't. I hope it kind of hangs out there for the next 4 days. But yeah, so I'm going to scroll down here just a touch, and I wanted to share this number with you. There's the premiums they brought in just for writing these calls, $56,840. That is really good, right? That's really good. That number excites me for sure. That's kind of why I really want Mister's price to stay underneath the $417 at least. So that we can collect almost all of that right there. So they will close out all of these, but you know, we're talking about like $1 or less if the price stays way under 417 per share. So it's going to be, you know, not the full 56 million that we would collect, but it would be close, right? Which is good. So that could be good. The stuff in white here, I didn't highlight that at all. These are your credit call spreads, 475, 480. They had to pay this much money to do that, which is 1,200,000. Is that 12,337,000, right? So you can minus that from here. So you're looking at like 44 million in collected collected premiums right there, right? So you delete that from this total, right? So 44 million some odd thousand. So Yeah, we definitely made some good money here, but it's not money in our pocket yet. We gotta wait for Friday. So I know for me, I'm cheering against Mister getting above 417. I don't know about you guys, but what happens if the price goes up above 417? Well, then the price of Misty will also go up above 417. Uh, will also go up above $23 here because the price of Mr. Bitcoin, all of that would have gone up there too. So something to think about. Anyways, I thought you guys would think that chart's pretty interesting. I know I really love looking at that. For me, I got to color code that thing because it is pretty confusing. And so if you have funds like with Nvidia or Coney, you can do the same thing yourself. And if you'd like to see me do that in other videos about those specifically, let me know in the comments, and I can definitely do that with you. I've got a video here that I think you guys might find is interesting. Let's go over this video, and then we will do a little debrief at the end, okay? Here we go.
The price of Bitcoin holding above the $100,000 level, passing through $105,000 level briefly this morning, up 70% in the last year. Joining us right now is Josh D'Agostino. He's the head of strategy at Coinbase Institutional, and we've been talking about the movement in Bitcoin, which has been pretty volatile. We were down in what was the low of 74, 73?
Maybe even a little lower, yeah.
Maybe even a little lower than that.
Yeah.
We've come back. Are we supposed to think about it as gold? Are we supposed to think about it as the NASDAQ? I mean, I think this is the fundamental question.
So last time I was on, which the timing was very fortuitous, I was on April 23rd, and I talked about how through April 22nd, despite lower ETF inflows than gold, Bitcoin had outperformed since the announcement of the tariffs. Well, literally the moment I walked off set,
right.
Bitcoin ETF flows exploded. So first of all, congratulations on having a very powerful platform. 5.5 billion roughly and counting since then, dwarfing gold. And we talked about the three reasons why no longer trading as a tech bundle, in the tech bundle, inflation hedge, and this sort of catch up to gold type trade. Now with this sort of onslaught of ETF flows, we have a fourth characteristic, which is just scarcity. Bitcoin miners cannot produce Bitcoin as fast as this overwhelming demand. So I don't think it's appropriate to view it as a tech stock in the tech bundle. Whether you view it as a commodity like gold is somewhat subjective. I like to look at it that way. Some others don't. But I think it's a good framework to think about, specifically relative to the gold trade.
And one of the things we're looking at right now is a whole bunch of ETFs. How should we think about, I mean, I know what your business is, but by the way, you actually now interact with a lot of the guys who are holding some of these ETFs, so that matters to you too.
Sure. We are the custodian for the majority of these ETFs. So when you buy an ETF,
right.
And
they're effectively
Bitcoin, it's held with us.
You're holding it.
Yeah.
So the question though is, do you see most of the inflows coming in now direct, meaning people are buying the coins themselves, or they're buying the ETFs?
It's both.
And I know you don't care which it is, but I just wonder, sort of just transactionally, how it's happening.
It's both. I mean,
I'm sure, but on a percentage basis.
So based on this onslaught of inflows, I don't have the percentage number for you right now. It's probably going to be the overwhelming majority is going to be ETFs, but I don't have exact data. The one important thing to remember about these ETF inflows, not just the surge we've seen recently, but since the beginning, because it's been an absolutely phenomenally performing ETF. And this is a very important point that's overlooked. This is being done with the asset managers not allowing their salespeople, their financial advisors, to recommend it. So that's extraordinary. That's like a shoe salesman not being able to recommend Nike, right? So that's going to change at some point. And I'll sort of leave it to your viewers to determine what happens when that thundering herd of brokers can actually pick up the phone and recommend this ETF.
Is there still a thundering herd of brokers?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't get the calls? You don't get the calls?
I do. I always laugh. Yeah. Yeah, but that's a thundering herd. Yeah. No, don't you laugh when you get a call? It's like
I don't get that phone. I think now people are on their phone. They get maybe they get a text message or something. I don't know.
Because I'm always
Classic Joe right here, right? Just interrupting with nonsense.
just as close to saying, "Don't you know who I am?" And I just can't get that out. I can't get those words out.
Thank God.
I know, but if someone calls and says hi, and has no idea, it's like, what are you watching in the morning?
Let me ask you a separate question. Outside of Bitcoin, we're all Bitcoin. Everybody here is Bitcoin crazy because most people, if they're into crypto, they're really into Bitcoin. What do you make of these other currencies, and how should we think about that?
So the narrative I like to think about is, well, there's Bitcoin, there's about top 20 tokens which have real utility, trying to solve real problems. The stack below that I think of as a venture capital pool. So if you're investing in venture capital, you generally have a portfolio theory where you know that a meaningful portion of your portfolio is not going to succeed. Some will tread water, and if you're lucky, you'll have a couple of huge winners. I think thinking about crypto that way is a good narrative because it's fairly easy to create a coin. People create coins for fun. They create coins to solve business problems. They create coins to solve social problems. So I think if you view it as a venture capital portfolio, you can risk adjust it appropriately.
Wanted to ask you, there's been a whole bunch of headlines in the last, call it 72 hours, about the Trump family and their crypto holdings. I'm sure you've seen that. I can't tell whether you think, well, I doubt that there's going to be more regulation around crypto, but I wonder whether you think these kinds of stories raise that question in some kind of other way for you.
Well, I don't know if I agree that there won't be more regulation because we've been pushing for clearer regulation. So I think what we'll see is more law, more clear law and more clear guidelines. So yeah, no, I think that's beneficial for everyone. Other countries have leapfrogged us by producing clear guidelines. You start with a law and then you produce the regulation and then you enforce it. So I do think and I hope that we see good stuff coming out of government.
Do you think there should be insider trading laws for Bitcoin?
I personally think there should be. I think that people who trade these assets should follow the same rules.
But there are no insider trading laws around crypto right now.
What's inside information look like? I guess.
So I'm not sure that's.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's right. I think if there are, so I think people should follow the same rules as trading traditional assets.
For stocks or other things like
Correct.
that.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like insider trading on gold or bonds or something. It's weird. It's not. It's different than companies.
Be tough to prove.
Yeah.
It's different than companies, but
Yeah. But if you were in Congress and you knew there was going to be legislation,
correct. That's so
would be
how do you feel
awesome.
about that?
Yeah.
How do I feel about what? Sir.
Congress trading.
How do I feel about Congress trading?
Yeah. What's the House view at Coinbase about Congress
I don't
trading
think that's
Bitcoin?
a crypto-specific issue. I think that there seems to be more noise about Congress being allowed to trade. I think everyone should follow the same rules.
Agreed. Everyone should follow the same rules. Absolutely. So, I thought that was a good interview. He was kind of thrown back a little bit with some of the questions from Joe, which I think just about every single guest on CNBC is thrown back. If you ever wake up and watch that show, you see it for yourself. Yeah, Mister's future is just focused on Bitcoin. If you think Bitcoin's going to go up, then Mister's got to go up too, right? You would think, right? So none of this is advice. None of this is telling you what you should do with your money. You definitely should be looking into this on your own, realizing what your risk is, understanding the risk that if Bitcoin drops, then this will drop too. If this drops, then your distributions will also decrease big time. And that could be a big risk to you. For me, that's why I'm sticking to 200 shares. I'm not going any further than that. I'm taking the cash. I'm going to put it into something else. I haven't decided yet what that is. There's a new fund out there called MST. It's from Defiance. For me, it's a no, but I will cover it. I'm going to go over that in the next couple of days here with you guys just to see what it looks like. And if you are interested, Sylvia, the fund manager, was on CNBC this morning before that Mr. interview. And I'll put that as part of my video on MST there as well, which is a 2x fund, leverage fund on MicroStrategy. So could be interesting. Anyways, guys, my name is Mike. I just wanted to come here and keep you updated on what's happening with Misty, our upcoming week coming up here, telling you kind of a little bit about what I'm up to. But if you enjoyed the content, I hope you hit the like, the subscribe, and if you want to become a member, I'd love to have you. Yeah, appreciate every single one of you for being here today. Hope you have an awesome night. Bye for now.